Hello and welcome to this NDTV exclusive. A controversy seems to have erupted over the British government's new travel guidelines which excluded Covishield from those vaccines which have been cleared by the UK for people to travel to that country, provoking strong reactions in India, including from the Indian government, as well as those who've called this vaccine racism. Joining me on NDTV is Alex Ellis, the British High Commissioner to India. Thank you so much, Alex Ellis, for doing this. High Commissioner, I just wanted to ask you that even as we record this interview, it's now emerged that Covishield has in fact been put in a sense on the cleared list by the UK government, but it appears that Indians who are vaccinated with it still can't travel because there are some questions over India's vaccine certifications. With all respect, what is going on?
What is going on is that all countries, the UK, India, but lots of other countries, are shifting the way they deal with travel during a time of COVID. Now, we've all lived through the extraordinary experiences of the last 18 months and the complications of travel. So the UK, what the UK is doing is shifting its whole policy on travel from being exclusively country-focused. We had the green list, the amber list, the red list, of course, when you have very high levels of COVID, as India did earlier this year, and other countries still do, to one which combines incidents of COVID and vaccination, because the other big change which is going on is that we're all getting vaccinated, and I should just pay respect to what India is achieving in terms of its speed of vaccination now, up to almost 1 lakh the other day of vaccines.
Sure.
So what's happening is we are changing our policy. And how are we changing our policy? We are now saying we're getting rid of the green and amber list. India was amber, and we're saying anyone who is from either of those lists now, you come in and you quarantine for 10 days unless you are double jabbed with one of the British regulators approved vaccines, which includes AstraZeneca and, to be clear, includes Covishield. So Covishield is not the issue.
So Covishield is not the issue, but let me just take us through the issues one by one. So with Covishield, why was it not on the list to begin with?
So all I can say is it's not an issue. We're just changing this policy now. Remember, the announcement of the new policy was only on Friday,
right?
And we were clear that Covishield is not an issue. So what is the issue? What are we talking about now? The next question is: were you a green-listed country? And on our list of 17 countries, we're really not entirely, but almost entirely green-listed countries. In other words, where you have very low levels of COVID, because it's pretty obvious that those folks, if you're coming from Australia or Singapore, for example, where has almost no COVID at all, then if you're double vaccinated, it shouldn't be a problem coming to the UK.
Okay, so you're saying Covishield is not the issue, though initially Covishield was not mentioned on the UK government's website, which is why there was all this furor. So was that added because of the strong reactions from India, with India even threatening reciprocal action?
No, we listen very carefully to what the Indian government says, but ministers have to take decisions, and they've been clear that Covishield is not an issue.
So Covishield has been cleared, but there does still appear to be a concern over vaccine certification in India. So if you could just explain what that concern is.
Sure. So going back again, it's, first of all, the list of 17 was mainly, not exclusively, but mainly green-listed countries, which have also have quite a lot of travellers coming through to the UK.
So these are 17 countries now which have been cleared.
If you're double jabbed and you're jabbed with one of the UK regulators approved vaccines, then you don't have to quarantine.
Right.
Just a reminder for a second.
But India is not on these list of 17.
No, it is not on the list of 17. It was an amber country.
Right.
And there's some COVID still in India, as we know. Much lower than it was. Thank goodness for all of us. And I just want to say again, one, how grateful we were for the support which India gave us last year when we had real problems with COVID, and secondly, we like to think we could help again in return this year. So the question now is, you're getting into the amber countries, and India has some COVID. That's why it's on the amber list. So then the question is certification.
Certification,
exactly, yeah. And what's been happening is that for the last couple of weeks, we've been having detailed technical conversations between basically the builders of the apps of the UK and India, because India has the CoWIN app, we have our NHS app in the UK, and those folks have been talking to each other. Right, how does your app work? How does that work? What are the security protocols? All this because we hope it will be mutual, that our aim is to get India, and not just India, lots of other countries, onto the list of people who, if you've been jabbed by these jabs, you can come and you don't have to quarantine.
Okay.
Just a brief reminder, UK is already open, yeah?
Sure.
If you're an Indian tourist and you want to come to the UK, you can. You
Okay.
have to quarantine. If you're an Indian student, and thank goodness we've issued 65,000 student visas for this year, up 30% on last year.
Okay.
Indian students pouring into the UK. So lots of people are coming into the UK from India. Business people as well. You can get an electronic visa and so forth. So there are lots of people travelling. So the question is, what do you do when you get there? Do you have to quarantine?
Yes.
And we said the Covishield isn't the issue. What we're doing now is talking to the experts who produce the app to say, okay, how does this work? How do we make sure it works? Because we have to have confidence, obviously, and just as India would have to have confidence from the UK,
Right.
from our app, to make sure, okay, this looks okay, and then we can get on with
Okay,
it.
so from what I understand, you're saying, High Commissioner, is that basically there's an attempt to try to kind of understand what the vaccine certification process in India is, because one impression that was given by the sort of statement about the fact that vaccine certification is now the criteria or the issue is that the UK was in doubt about India's vaccine certification, that you had some concerns over its integrity.
What this is a very new policy, which it takes a bit of time to work through. And what we've learned, of course, over the last 18 months is what happens in the UK affects India's public health, and what happens in India affects the UK's public health because of the movement of people. There's fantastic movement of people between the two countries.
Okay.
So we need to get this right.
Okay.
So it's not a question of doubt, it's a question of the normal processes which technical experts go through in order to, so we have the assurances on both sides about how our certification works. The aim, I repeat, is we already have a lot of people from India travelling to the UK, is to make that easier, and that's our new policy, and obviously ministers will have to decide very soon on the basis of what we have, okay, can this work for India? We would like it to work, we want it to work.
Is there some chance that you can give me a sense of where we are with that conversation, as in how much more time will it take before the UK recognizes India's vaccination certification?
So I don't want to preempt the decisions of ministers. These are, just as in India, these are political decisions which require ministers to take the view, and that needs to be a collective decision of the British government. What I can say is we've gone through quite detailed technical conversations. I think both sides now understand how each other's apps work. So now we need to give advice to our ministers, as no doubt would happen on the Indian side as well. So I don't want to give deadlines because that's always a bit risky, but we are looking at it urgently, as our Foreign Secretary has said to Minister Jaishankar.
Okay, but High Commissioner, you do also understand the political sensitivities involved, and the government already seemed quite upset with the fact that Covishield was not initially on the list. We saw what the Foreign Secretary said about reciprocal measures. Do you think that the implication or the indication now coming from the government, the UK government, that look, Covishield is fine, but we still have some issues with your government vaccine certification? Do you think that could upset the government even further?
So I completely understand the Indian government reaction about Covishield, because they would say, this is an AstraZeneca production.
British-India collaboration.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, originally financed by British government taxpayers' money to go to Oxford University, and from that to then be developed by AstraZeneca and then by the Serum Institute. And it is a great example of UK-India collaboration.
So you could, as you said, you understood that initial response.
So I understand that people say, well, how could it be that if you're double jabbed with Covishield, that you can't be able to enter the UK? But this is a brand new policy announced on last Friday, which is mainly about green listed countries. So now what we're doing is just going through what is completely normal technical process of the two sides, and again, I very much hope it'll be a reciprocal thing to resolve any outstanding questions that people have. This is happening at extraordinary speed. Like everything which is going on in COVID, we're doing things at extraordinary speed. So it's nothing more than that.
Okay, so this perception that this is vaccine racism, because you cleared a whole bunch of countries, which includes Australia, Canada, Israel, etc. These are all the countries that are sort of in the green channel.
Singapore,
Antigua,
I think, is there.
Antigua, but not India. The suggestion that this is vaccine racism.
Most of those countries are were green listed countries. We are moving at great speed to try and resolve any outstanding questions with India, so we can give the best possible advice for ministers to take a decision which they will want to do quickly. The aim, I repeat, I always repeat 2 points. Firstly, lots of people are travelling from India to the UK.
Sure.
There are still some restrictions, by the way, on that
They
travel.
have to be they have to quarantine.
Yes,
right?
as I was when I went back to the UK over the summer, and obviously we'd all much rather not be quarantined. Now people are getting double jabbed, so this is a newish thing. The consequence of success, of India's success in vaccinating its population, and our success all over the world in vaccinating our population.
So last question, because I believe we're completely out of time. Do you think that overall this entire episode, because otherwise India and the UK have very close ties.
They do.
Do you think that given the sort of statements from the government and so on, has this cast a bit of a shadow?
It's because we have these close ties that these issues appear, because so many people want to travel from India to the UK. And that's a great thing. If you're doing my job as the British High Commissioner to India, I'm absolutely delighted that so many people want to travel, that so many people are travelling, and we want to make that easier. We've already let in, sadly, Jasprit Bumrah to humiliate the English batting on the last day of the Oval Test. All sorts of Indian talent is showing itself in the UK, and we want more of that.
All right. High Commissioner, thank you so much for talking to us. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.